Hello everyone, this is Zero5 and welcome to the Global Man Sancho Toy Review. And today's toy review, looking at the DC Universe Classics action figure review and focusing on the All-Stars DC Comics celebrating the 75 years of superpower, and the action figure we'll be looking at is Power Girl. I finally gotten this figure straight from a local toy shop near my area, the one I always go, and gotten this for 99 ringgit and 90 cents. Let's take a look at the front part of the packaging here. Now you'll notice this is the all-star packaging itself. It doesn't come with the collect and connect part. However, it does come with a collector button. I really wish that the button itself is actually featuring Power Girl. All I see is Flash, Hawkman, and Spectre. Where's Power Girl? Oh, anyways. And the back part of the packaging is really nice. You get to see all the nice little characters artwork at the back there. Darkseid is there, Cyborg, Catwoman, Ultra Humanite, Martian Manhunter, Cyborg Superman, Blue Beetle, version 3, The Question, Deadman. There's also Giganta, Lex Luthor. That's a lot of characters. Really nicely done. I really love the back part of the artwork itself. It looks very nicely done. Now you got the plastic bubble itself where the character Power Girl is in there, and at the bottom of the packaging itself, you'll notice hiding behind this piece here is the base stand itself. Very nicely done. Now at the back of the packaging you get to see a nice little image of Power Girl and a biography of her. At the bottom you got the statistics, which is actually her first appearance on which comics that she came out from, and at the bottom the retro wave line, which is actually kind of interesting that they don't put actual images of the toy itself, but rather, well, artwork of the character. And speaking of artwork, I would prefer the Power Girl figure itself. There's more resemblance to the artwork itself. She's a bit too, well, small and a bit skinnier, but what can I say? Let's open up this packaging so we can molest the toy, shall we? Be right back. And we're back after removing the figure and rest of the stuff off your packaging. Now inside the packaging it comes with a small little button where the Justice Society of America, which is written there, is having a meeting, and you get to see Hawkman, Flash, Spectre, and on the both sides of the edges itself we have no idea what sort of characters they are, because, well, they didn't imprint that much. You have very limited space anyway. Now at the back, nice little imprint of the DC Comics 75, and you got a pin there. You push the pin out and push it back, and that's it. Very nice. I really like the little button there. Next we'll take a look at the base stand. The base stand is nothing that spectacular. It's actually a simple translucent, blue translucent plastic of a base stand, and you'll notice there's the small little logo of DC Universe, and that's about it. Not much of design there, and there's one single peg to place it under the figure's boots. There's another hole now, of course, but there's only one peg, and on the other side it's just a hole. Not too sure why they do that. It doesn't serve any purpose. On the other side of the base stand itself, trademark at DC Comics, made in China, and that's about it. Let's take a look at the figure's paint job. Now the figure's paint job, I really don't like the flesh tone skin they used for this, because the color's a bit too tan for this figure. She doesn't look as pale as shown at the back of the packaging as well. You notice the artwork. The skin is a bit too tan. I really don't like that. But the rest of the paint job is actually not bad. However, the costume is a bit dull. It's like it's not painted. It felt very plasticky. It's not as white as shown at the back of the artwork itself. This is a bit too plasticky for my taste, actually. Now, nice little paint job of the boobs there, of course. You got a nice little gold rope latching onto the cape, and the cape is not painted, of course. Boots also are painted, so does the gloves as well. Nice little blue there, and the hair is nicely painted with all the shading there. Very nice. The face paint job is also quite detailed. Her eyes is quite detailed in paint job. You get to see the pupils. She has blue eyes. Nice little red lipstick painted on her lips. Very nicely done. Really nice. Now, let's take a look at the figure's sculpt. The back of the cape itself is rather interesting. It's a solid piece that attached to the back of the figure, and it's very solid that it hinders some articulation. It's kind of disappointing that it's not soft enough, you know. Now the hair sculpt is pretty detailed. I really like the hair sculpt, but she looks kind of off. Doesn't look like Power Girl to me. Not that kind of hairstyle anyway. It's like one side of the hair is a bit, you know, sloped inwards, so it's kind of weird looking. Face sculpt is actually quite detailed. I really like the face sculpt, but a bit too skinny. She looks skinny though, if you compare to the artwork at the back of the packaging. She's a bit skinny, but I like the details being put onto the face itself. Now the body, the arms are really skinny arms, and her body itself is not as muscular as shown in the comics. She has really long thighs and really short legs at the bottom part of the legs. Notice, it's kind of weird. If the joint is placed a bit higher, she will look a bit more normal, but notice she looks kind of a bit off. And the legs, the lower part of the legs are also rather skinny. Now, speaking of skinny, her boobs are also a bit small compared to the original artwork there. And her ass is flat. She has a very flat ass, which is rather disappointing. I find the figure itself, the sculpt is a bit off, being her that she's very skinny, and she has up to no ass at all, and her hair sculpt is a bit off as well. She looks alright for average collector, but for fans of Power Girl, she is a bit disappointing. Actually, it's a really disappointing figure actually. I expect too much anyway. Let's take a look at the figure's articulation. Now, articulation is a bit disappointing as well. Seeing that she has a cape and she can fly, you know, the character can fly, she cannot tilt her head upwards. She can actually tilt the head downwards and a bit side to side and turn the head 360 degrees, but she cannot tilt the head upwards, so you cannot pose her in flight mode. She will be forever looking downwards, which is kind of weird. Now the shoulder joint here can turn 360 degrees and lift the arms this far, and on the side here can push all the way back like so, which is kind of weird articulation, and can go front this far. Upper bicep turns 360 degrees. The elbow joint here can bend this far, and the wrist joint here turns 360 degrees. Now the torso joint here is being hindered by the solid cape, so you cannot pivot backwards. She can, however, bend forward, and that's about it. Waist joint turns 360 degrees, and then you have the hips that goes forward and to the sides. Lower thigh here turns 360 degrees. Knee joint bends this far, and the ankle joint goes down and up, and that's about it. Overall, if I'm gonna give a rating of this, she is rather disappointing. She doesn't look exactly how she is portrayed in the comics itself. Fists are too small, the boots, the feet itself is too small. She has really skinny lower legs, really skinny arms. She doesn't have muscular lower torso. Boobs are not big. She has really flat ass, and her hair is like one side of the hair has been cut off, so it looks really weird to me. But that's the only Power Girl figures that we have for the DC Universe Classics. So I hope they do reissue and remold the figure, because I want my Power Girl to look just like in the comics. You know, like that. Humongous boobs, big ass, muscular, you know. This is a bit too scrawny. It's like she's on a really heavy diet and becomes a skinny supermodel. So if I'm gonna give a rating on this, I'll just give it a 5 out of 10. For an average collector, she looks really nice, but for fans of Power Girl, she may be a bit more disappointing than you think. So 5 out of 10 for Power Girl. I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05, and I'm signing off.